There's been a rumbling from this corner of the car for the last few weeks. I thought I'd better investigate now. And I've just found, you can see that or hear it. That sounds very much like something's not happy. I think possibly a wheel bearing, might be a bottom arm and a wheel bearing, which we'll have to see. There's definitely movement down there, which isn't great because they're not even a year old yet, those bottom arms. But time to do some investigation, because wheel bearing don't sound great either. Neither does the drive shaft. Time to see what's in there. Never fails. Definitely bottom arm, which is less than ideal. Little drift to knock it through. There we go. It's not the end of the world to knock the end of that, because the thread's not all the way at the end. Almost like it was designed for it. Patented really big bar. There it goes. And hopefully just a gentle tap and the shaft will come off. Lovely, that's loose. Where's the track rod off? Way old school. Caliper off. Shouldn't really let that hang. Be alright. It's lucky this is a really cheap, horrible car, isn't it? Because otherwise you'd be upset about hitting the paintwork up here. Be alright. There she blows. Let's just see if I can hear. Doesn't sound great, does it? Right, this is the fun part. Let's go get the press ready. A bit of time has passed. Here we are set up on the second-hand press. It's not a perfect solution, but you know, we've supported that edge, we've supported this edge, and as we go down, I have to put the bar in here. Yeah, there it goes. Oh well. So now the fun part, I've got to pull that off. Right, I'm over at the vise. I've got the puller on. It's only just about big enough, but you know, it's generally there for classic minis. But oops, other way up. Bolt on the top, and just keep going. Got far enough that my block wouldn't fit through the hole in the middle of the bearing, so I changed it up for a top of a socket, upside down, and just keep going. There she blows. Bearing race pulled. Woohoo! Next step is to pull the bearing out here, so circlip pliers to get that out of the way, and then find a nice big, either a socket or lump of metal to push the bearing out this way on the press. Alright, I found one. We are looking at a, where's the marking? It says a 1-inch Whitworth, which has a metric equivalent, but I've no idea what it was because I was working on 1970s buses, so it doesn't matter. That fits snugly there, and this is just the same lump of old metal. I think it might have been a cam follower off of a bus or something, but it broke. Gets used as a press piece, but that sits nicely in the 3/4 drive hole. Bit fiddly to get the this hub assembly in my press, as it's only a cheap, nasty second-hand, I don't know where from, jobby. Bought off Marketplace. So I'm going to do this the easy way. Almost there. Flies out. It's almost like it's been done before. Nearly there. Woohoo! Old bearing extracted. Perfect piece of kit. It's an impact socket as well, which, you know, really means I'm at least using the name correctly as opposed to the tool. But, yeah. Right, next bit, clean out the gunk and the rust. So a bit of WD-40, a bit of emery tape, could be 320, doesn't really matter. A bit of WD and clean up, for want of a better word, without being punny, clean up the entrance to the hole. Give it a wipe. See in there. Now all nice and shiny, free from rust. I think it's time to put the new bearing back in. Okay, as you can see, I'm using the socket I used to push the old bearing out, and below it I've got the old bearing, and I'm going to use that to push the new bearing into place. It's gone down nice and flush, and as you can see, the ring groove absolutely perfect. So just a little bit of a wipe around with a clean cloth to take any junk off that bearing face, and spin it back over and put the flange in. Right, do a very quick be careful here, because this is the only really, I suppose, complicated part of the wheel bearing process. Once you've got the old one out, you can smash it out any which way you like. Hammer and a drift, big sockets, weld together some bits of bar section, whatever you want. But if you put it together wrong, you're in trouble. So I'm going to spin this around now and it just explain that bit. So this is the dry flange. Here is our nice and neatly assembled bearing. Now this dry flange has to get pressed back into there. It's just held in by the interference fit on here, and then obviously it won't work its way off because there's a big nut on this end. It can't go through because there's a split pin, you know, keeps everything nice. So this surface on the inside has to be nice and clean, and the bit that contacts this bearing face down here also needs to be nice and clean. And when you go to press it in, you need to have something sitting on the back so that you don't then push this second bearing back out. So I've got a socket here that fits nicely over there. It's a 36mm socket, but oh, almost lost it. It sits nicely on the metal part here, so I can wedge this all up together, and I know that if it gets close, that end is going to press straight into the middle here, and it's not going to cause any problems. So when it runs out of travel, I am where I need to be. Right, here we are, set up. So it's a bit tricky to see completely, and not everything looks straight, but you know, it will sort itself out on the way down. It just can't go anywhere. So let's see how this goes. Okay, here we go. That's it. Oh, just got it out of the press. Everything looks good. New bearing in there. The flange is pressed as far down as it can. Nothing is untoward, and spins round with a nice little bit of resistance. I was going to do a time lapse and set the phone up on a tripod and go through the putting everything back together process, but yeah, I got carried away and it's back together. But literally, knock this upwards onto the strut, do up the pinch bolt at the back, slide the drive shaft on, whack the shaft up, put the steering arm back on, and the very last is you slide what is now a new bottom arm, bit of a fiddle, but slide that up into the gap. Sometimes requires a kick and a hit and a few nasty words thrown at it, but you know, okay. It's all there where it needs to be, and yeah, that's it. I've got to do up this one here, and I've got to just go around and make sure these are all actually tight rather than impact them. A couple of ugger-duggers tight, and I've got to do this one up. I think it's a couple of 100 foot-pounds, but check that one. But yeah, DIY wheel bearing, there we go. Have fun.